So I remember sneaking into the American Pie when I was 7 and watching it and like barely getting any of the jokes, even though they're like super obvious to me today. American Reunion. So the old high school is having their 13-year high school reunion for some reason, and basically everybody from the original films is back, and they pretend that those DVD spin-offs never even happened. There's only one Stifler. So while I did like this movie, at the same time I was a little let down by it. Like, it starts out good with a couple of jokes and setups, but maybe after the first 10, 15 minutes, from that point there isn't that much because you're expecting these characters to just get back and act like dumb high schoolers, and they don't do that much, only in like small bits, except for Stifler, who's as obnoxious as ever, and that is why we love him. And he saves the first half of the movie. But there are jokes here and there, but it mostly focuses on Jim and Michelle's marriage, which is a little shaky. Like, they have a kid who's never even really a character. He's just like the catalyst for certain situations, or at least he adds to certain situations. You have Oz, who's a bit of a celebrity, who's dating like this bat crap insane girl, and there's this whole thing with him and Heather, but to be honest, as a couple, I don't really care about those two anymore. Kevin almost gets nothing to do here except just be part of the group and then talk to his wife and then talk to Vicky, and then comedically they don't give him much to do. And then Finch is still Finch, or at least he wants everyone to think that he's still Finch. But halfway into this movie, they finally kick things into gear, and Jim gets put into this hilarious situation involving the girl that he used to babysit. And credit to the girl for doing the nudity for that long. Like, that had to be awkward, and they're gonna butcher the crap out of that scene when this movie's on cable. But just like from that point on, the movie finally gets its flow and just keeps going. Then they move on to Stifler's party, and like, even though, yeah, that did take a little while to get going, they all end up in like these hilarious situations, especially Eugene Levy, who was great when the movie used him. And then for like the last part, like when they actually get to the reunion, this movie just goes off of pure nostalgia, and it works and justifies the disappointing first half almost entirely. There are many callbacks to the first movie, and they build on that stuff with new jokes hilariously. And let me just say this, Stifler, best revenge ever. So despite those praises, there are still a lot of noticeable lags in terms of laughs and certain plot points that just do not work and actually end up hurting the movie. And there are a lot of side characters that they just throw in for the sake of the story, and it brought the movie down a bit. So I'll say this movie is worth seeing in theaters if you're a fan of the original trilogy, but be patient with it, because it really takes a while to get going. And if you like this review, please subscribe. Now I'm going to go see what the big fuss about this game is.